Welcome to the deep dive. We take the stuff you're curious about, pull out the key insights, basically, so you can feel properly informed without all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, and today you've pointed us towards a big one. Building wealth, achieving, real financial freedom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the materials you sent give us a great place to start. Our mission really is to look at the practical steps, but also those mindset shifts.
Yeah.
Those seem crucial for building a more secure financial future based on these sources.
Right, and a key source is You Deserve to Be Rich by Rashad Bilal and Troy Millings.
Yeah, and their background is pretty interesting. Two friends, one from the Bronx, one from Westchester County, who bonded over finance.
And they saw this gap, didn't they?
Right.
Especially in financial education for, well, underserved
For
communities.
sure. And that led to Earn Your Leisure, their platform, and this book.
Okay.
So let's get into it. What's the main idea? The Earn Your Leisure thesis for wealth building.
Okay, so at its heart, it's pretty straightforward. Make more money, spend less money, and invest what's left over. Simple formula.
Seems simple, yeah.
But the real power isn't just the formula itself. It's understanding how those three parts work together. Sometimes people focus too much on just cutting back.
Right, and that can feel really restrictive.
Exactly. But if you strategically focus on boosting your income too, that gives you more fuel for investing down the line. So the insight is more about thinking critically, where can you make the biggest impact in your own finances?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's not just about scrimping and saving, it's also about expanding possibilities. And they really hit on lifestyle creep, don't they? That's such a common trap.
Oh, absolutely. You get a raise, and suddenly things you never thought you needed feel essential. It just creeps up on you.
Yeah.
And to fight that, they suggest something kind of interesting, a vision board.
Okay, a vision board. Not just for, like, manifesting.
Well, they frame it more practically, use it to visualize those bigger things you want, the things you can't quite afford yet. Keep those goals visible.
Ah, I see.
It helps you resist those small impulse buys because you've got that bigger picture, your why, right in front of you.
I like that. A concrete link between today's choices and tomorrow's goals. Okay, so financial freedom. It's a term we hear all the time. How do Bilal and Millings define it? Make it useful.
Their definition is quite specific and I think really empowering. It's having enough active income and residual income.
Residual being key there.
Exactly. Enough income so you actually control your time and can live life the way you want to. It's way more than just a bank balance. It's about flexibility, choices.
That really changes the perspective, doesn't it? It's about options, not feeling trapped. And they push the listener, you, to personalize that definition.
Absolutely. They want you to really dig deep. What does financial freedom actually look like for you? Is it family security, travel, maybe retiring early?
Yeah, making it specific.
Exactly. Set specific, measurable goals tied to your values. When you do that, money stops being just stuff you spend. It becomes a tool for building the life you actually want.
So, with that goal in mind, how do we make better daily choices? They had that little check-in question for uh, non-essential buys, right?
They did. Before you buy that want, ask yourself two things. Is this really a need or just a want? And maybe more telling, how am I going to feel about this purchase tomorrow or next week?
That's surprisingly effective, I bet. Just pausing for a second.
It really is. Helps build that mindful spending habit.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Financial trauma. This is huge and often overlooked in finance chat. What to say about how our past shapes our money habits?
Yeah, this is so important. They stress how our early experiences, family stuff, societal context, it all deeply influences how we see and use money.
Right.
For a lot of people, especially in communities facing systemic barriers, the focus has always been just covering the bills, making ends meet. There wasn't much room to even think about saving or investing long term.
And they make a critical point. If you have an unhealthy relationship with money, it's not always your fault, right? There are bigger systems involved.
Exactly. They really highlight the history of systemic inequality, racism, things that created huge barriers to building wealth, especially for minority communities. They mention the Freedmen's Bank failure after the Civil War.
Devastating for Black families then.
Absolutely. And ongoing issues like banking deserts today, these are real systemic obstacles. It's crucial context for anyone's financial story.
It really is. And they share personal stories too, which makes it very real. Troy's parents losing their home.
Yeah, that's a powerful example. An adjustable rate mortgage got complicated, they lost the house. And that experience created this deep, lasting financial caution in their family.
You can see how that would happen.
Totally. And that kind of instability in childhood can lead to all sorts of coping mechanisms, internalized beliefs about money, feeling like a burden, maybe, or just constant anxiety around scarcity.
So this trauma can show up in weird ways, right? Like maybe hoarding money obsessively, or the opposite, like spending way too much.
Precisely. They talk about different manifestations: extreme saving, where you can't enjoy anything, setting impossible standards for yourself, trying to look successful, or, yeah, impulsive overspending, maybe as an emotional release.
Okay.
The main takeaway here is you need to acknowledge those past experiences. You have to actively work to release the pain tied up with money if you want real financial health. It's about healing that relationship.
That's a really powerful way to frame it. Okay, so acknowledging the mindset stuff, our history, then they give us a structure for managing money day to day. The EYL money principle, what's the formula there?
Right, the EYL money principle, it's an equation. 15% goes to saving, 55% to spending, 10% for sharing, and 20% for investing. That adds up to 100% of your income.
Okay, let's break that down. 15% for saving, that's mostly the emergency fund.
Yeah, that's the main job of that 15%, building that safety net. They suggest aiming for 3 to 6 months of essential living costs.
But it's not one size fits all.
No, definitely not. They make that clear. How much you need depends on your situation, job security, dependence, just your overall comfort level with risk. They use a few examples, like Tracy, the Williams family, Corey, to show how it might differ.
Makes sense. A single person might need less than a family or someone self-employed.
Yeah.
Okay, the big slice, 55% for spending. What's in there?
That 55% covers your essentials: rent, mortgage, utilities, food, transport, all that. But it also includes the wanted it stuff.
Fun stuff.
The fun stuff, exactly. But the key rule here is keeping that wanted it spending below your needed it spending. It's about being intentional with the discretionary money.
Got it. Then 10% for sharing. That's giving back.
Right. Being deliberate about generosity, helping family, supporting your community, donating to causes you care about, budgeting for it makes it a real part of your plan.
And finally, 20% for investing. This is the wealth building engine.
That's exactly it, building for the future. Now, 20% is the target, kind of the ideal. They say aim for at least 10%, but really push for that 20% because of the long-term impact.
Now, they're pretty clear this is a guideline, not rigid rules. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a framework. Adjustments are fine, even necessary, depending on your life. But the most important thing they stress is just starting. Even if you can't hit those percentages right away, just the act of budgeting, allocating intentionally, that's the crucial first step to getting control.
And to make it work, they recommend getting pretty detailed with a budget, line items and all that.
For sure. Detailed annual and monthly budgets. List everything out. They even suggest using multiple checking accounts, like one for bills, one for spending money, one for savings, just to keep things clear.
Helps you see where the money's actually going.
Exactly. And you can't just set it and forget it. Regular budget reviews are key.
To track progress, make tweaks.
Right. Look at your spending. Use those categories they suggest: needed it, wanted it, and maybe even a what was I thinking category.
Huh. I think we all need that one sometime.
Definitely. It helps you honestly reflect and adjust your plan going forward.
Okay, moving on to credit. Super important for financial health. What are the 5 main steps they outline for building better personal credit?
Okay, first step, know your score, evaluate it. They point to annualcreditreport.com, the official place for free reports from the big 3 bureaus.
Good starting point. What's next?
Second, monitor your credit. Keep an eye out for weird activity, potential fraud. Set up alerts. Maybe even consider a credit lock for extra security.
Okay, proactive protection.
Third, dispute errors. If you see something wrong on your report, even small stuff, challenge it with the bureaus. Inaccuracies can hurt your score.
Right, don't let those slide. Fourth step is kind of interesting. Becoming an authorized user.
Yeah, this one raises eyebrows sometimes. But if you get added to someone's card, someone with a long positive payment history and low utilization,
Their good history can help you.
it can potentially reflect positively on your report and boost your score. But big caveat here. They stress clear communication is vital. No expectation you'll actually use the card. It's purely a credit building strategy.
Makes sense. Needs trust. And the 5th step.
Pay down your debts strategically.
How so?
Well, generally, focus on high-interest debt first. That saves you the most money over time. Or, there's the snowball method. Pay off the smallest balances first for quick wins. Build momentum.
Different approaches for different people. Okay, got the budget, working on credit. Next up, automation, making things easier. What should we automate?
They're big fans of automating bill payments. Start small, maybe with fixed expenses, then gradually automate everything you can. Avoids missed payments, late fees.
Smart. What else?
Automate your savings and investing. Set up automatic transfers from your paycheck straight into retirement accounts or savings. That lines up perfectly with the EYL principle, pay yourself first.
Before you even see the money.
Exactly. And lastly, check your auto pay schedule now and then. Make sure it still works with your cash flow and goals.
Right. Set it, but don't totally forget it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dive into investing. This can feel like the exciting part, but also maybe the most intimidating for some. What are the core principles they cover?
Yeah, they break it down well. Investing, at its simplest, is just putting money somewhere, hoping it'll grow over time. Generate returns.
Okay.
A key idea is matching your investments to your goals and your timeline. Short-term goals, less than a year, like maybe Aisha saving for that Essence Festival trip. Medium term, 1 to 7 years, like Bashir's food truck investment. Long term, 7+ years retirement, generational wealth, that kind of thing.
Thinking about when you need the money back.
Exactly. And that ties into how they talk about debt too, the good versus bad debt distinction.
Right. Explain that a bit.
So bad debt is usually high interest, not tax deductible. Think credit cards. Good debt is often lower interest, maybe tax deductible, like student loans or mortgages.
And their point is that
You don't necessarily need to be totally debt-free before you start investing, especially if it's mostly good debt and you have a long time horizon.
Okay. They also give an overview of the different market sectors you can invest in.
Yeah, just a broad look at the different parts of the economy. Consumer discretionary, staples, energy, financials, health, tech, real estate, utilities. Helps you understand where companies fit.
And then the actual types of investments, the asset classes. This is where it can get confusing.
It can feel that way, but think of them as just different categories. You've got equities, which is basically owning shares in companies' stocks, public or private. Then bonds, which are like loans to governments or companies that pay you interest, generally lower risk than stocks.
Okay, stocks and bonds. What else?
Mutual funds, where lots of people pool money to buy a mix of stuff, stocks or bonds. There are index funds, actively managed funds. ETFs, exchange-traded funds, are similar but often cheaper and trade like stocks.
Good for beginners, maybe.
Often, yeah. Then there's fixed deposits, safe, but lower returns, less accessible. Real estate, owning property or investing through REITs, which are like real estate mutual funds. And then riskier stuff like commodities or luxury goods.
Wow. Okay, lots of options. Then they always come back to risk versus return, right?
Always. That's fundamental. Higher potential return usually means higher risk. You need to figure out your own risk tolerance, conservative, moderate, aggressive, and build your mix of assets based on that. And don't forget the costs. Fees, commissions, taxes, they all eat into your returns.
Definitely need to factor those in.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at a specific investment opportunity, what should you look for?
Look for markets that are actually growing. Analyze if the business or asset can realistically generate revenue. Check key signs: growing customer base, steady revenue. Is it aligned with current trends?
Do your homework, basically.
Absolutely. And be cautious with brand new markets where there isn't much data. Also, and this is crucial if you're investing in a business, understand exactly what ownership or equity you're getting for your money. And don't be afraid to negotiate.
Negotiate the terms.
Yeah, your money is valuable. They use Bashir's food truck investment as a good example of evaluating an opportunity and making sure the deal makes sense.
Right. Another big theme, multiple income streams. Why is that so important?
Well, they argued that just relying on one job often limits how much you can really save and invest aggressively.
Caps your potential.
Exactly. Multiple streams boost your earnings and give you more security. And importantly, you don't have to quit your day job to do it. Troy himself worked while building his businesses.
Good point. It's not always all or nothing.
Right. They share stories like Samaj building a personal training business on the side with little cash, or Deshaun's tutoring business taking off during the pandemic. Shows it's possible.
And for people thinking about going full-time entrepreneur, any advice there?
Yeah, be practical. Make sure your side income consistently replaces your salary. And have a solid plan for benefits, health insurance, retirement before you take the leap.
Sensible steps. Okay, let's talk about the big M, becoming a millionaire. Huge goal for many. How do they tackle that?
They get the appeal, for sure, but they immediately bring it back to earth. Taxes.
Yes,
Huge
reality check.
Big time.
Yeah.
$1 million earned. maybe 37% goes to taxes. So you're left with closer to $630,000. And even then, the EYL money principle still applies. Saving, spending wisely, sharing, investing, that doesn't stop.
And you still need that emergency fund.
Absolutely. Maybe even more so when you have more assets. They also touch briefly on tax optimization strategies for higher earners, tax-deferred accounts, tax-exempt bonds, charitable giving, things like that.
Makes sense. They also talk about not going it alone, building a money team.
Yeah, that's key. Financial freedom isn't usually a solo mission. You need support. Mentors who've done what you want to do. Maybe professionals like financial planners, accountants. Build that network.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Lastly, the $1 million flex.
Ah.
Celebrating that milestone. What's the guidance?
It's natural to want to celebrate, right? But be smart about it. Set a specific budget for the flex and stick to it. Don't let the celebration derail the whole plan.
Keep it reasonable.
Yeah, and maybe make the flex strategic. An experience investing in yourself. Something with lasting value, not just a temporary splurge.
So, wrapping up this deep dive into building wealth using these sources, what are the biggest takeaways for our listener?
I think the path they lay out is really clear. First, embrace that core EYL thesis. Increase income, decrease expenses, invest the difference. That's foundational.
Right.
Second, actually use the EYL money principle as your budget framework. It's practical, it's adaptable. And third, really understand the power of investing consistently. And maybe underlying all of it, acknowledging and dealing with any financial trauma you might carry. Those mindset shifts are just as vital as the numbers.
It really does boil down to taking intentional control, doesn't it? Building that secure, empowered future step by step. And their core message seems to be that this is achievable. If financial freedom isn't some exclusive club.
Exactly. It's within reach for everyone, really, no matter where you start. It takes commitment, though. You've got to be willing to learn, adapt, and challenge those limiting beliefs about money.
Absolutely. So, thinking about everything we've covered, maybe the question for you, our listener, is what's one thing, just one immediate action you can take today after hearing this to strengthen your own financial foundation? Something to chew on.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. We hope this exploration gave you some valuable insights and maybe a renewed sense that building lasting economic power is truly possible.